Welcome to another episode of the Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports. September 26th here. We're joined here with the original cast. We got Casey here back on a Sunday morning. Tyler back in the pink room. We are ready to go. We got football starting just like we were a year ago. Case, excited to have you back on Sunday morning. We got a lot to talk about today. Glad you're back.
Man, I'm stoked. I told you, I'm ready. Let's do it. Sunday, man. It's gonna be a good day, man.
Tyler, how you doing? You ready to go?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to have Casey back 2 shows in a row, a little Twitter activity. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing that.
Are you back in the original room, or you just like the color pink and you painted the new room?
It's a beautiful room. Now I have someone living in the other room right now. So
Gotcha. Just wanted to make
Got to give them their space.
Just wanted to check it on your pink love there.
That's a true team player right there, sacrificing for the better of the team.
Gentlemen, we're entering fall as here. It doesn't feel like it. It's still just freaking hot here. 98 degrees it was on like Thursday and Friday here in Cloverdale. But we managed through a 25-minute soccer practice. I came up with a good soccer play because our team name is the Team Sonics, and let's just put it this way, we're on the younger side. And so we're teaching
play.
Yeah, the soccer play, because we did 2 games, right? And we scored, I think, 1 goal in 2 games. And I think right now our plus minus is we're minus 19, but we got a goal, so we're on the board. So we entered the 3rd game yesterday, and I was like, all right, we got to figure out a way to score at least a couple goals. And one of the ways was I was like, all right, we just got to throw the ball towards the goal every throw in and just, get it in the mixer there. And hopefully a ball finds its way in there. Or the other team just has no idea what's going on because they just stay back at half court and your team can go down there and throw it to them. So we called it the Sonic Boom play, Tyler. I don't know if you're familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, but that was the play name they came up with. And the funny part is when they yell it, Sonic Boom, when they throw it. So we actually got 2 goals yesterday, Tyler. 2 goals.
Attaboy. Look like coaching.
Well, I don't know if it's so much coaching or if it's just, let's just keep. And there was one time there was like 3 boys early in the game. It was cracking me up. Like they literally weren't doing anything. They were just talking to each other on the field. And like the other team's like just scoring goal after goal. And I'm like, serenity now. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go. I literally just go out on the field. And I'm like, all right, guys, it's actually a game going on. We need to refocus here. I could just see if like Adam was there and just be like laughing. Just like I could just see like typical Darren over there trying to give somebody instruction.
You screwed me on the over-under. You said +9 as like a 6-goal difference. I lost big money on that game.
I just said over-under total goals because I knew we might give up a decent amount, but it was still fun. Amanda came up with her new dog. She has a puppy now.
What type of dogs you got?
What'd you call it, a snickerdoodle? I think it was a golden doodle, they call it. A golden
those are sick dogs.
Yeah,
it's cool dog.
It was a cool looking dog for sure. And he actually ran around in the house here with the kids, and they enjoyed it.
Did it take a dump in your house?
Nope, he saved that apparently for this morning, Casey said. So that's what they're doing. She's over there.
Benny was holding it all night. It was happy about it. But yeah.
Well, before we get off, how's Tavi do? What is he aggressive or?
He actually yesterday for the first time was like he was more aggressive like at moments. Like he dribbled pretty far. He got closer to scoring. And then there was like some other moments where it was like the same. Like so he's got to find more of that middle ground now to more aggressive. Like like the one thing is, like he'll stop right before he can kick the ball for the person will be dribbling with the ball. He can run up to him and then he stops instead of running through the player to try to steal the ball. So that's the next step here at the game of soccer for Miller.
Shoulder.
Or just him in general.
I told him, I was like, if you don't score, I'll give you $5 if you get a yellow card. He's like, I don't think they give those out. And I was like,
well, I know what my son really likes, and it's smoothies. So that's what I promised. I said, for every goal, I'll get you a smoothie for the I think for $5, man. That's an important goal. So we'll wait for that. I was also been watching this 30 for 30 on the New York Mets. I forget what the title actually is, but it's their like season. It just came out.
Summer of 1986 or something.
Yeah, I think exactly. And it's actually pretty good. I'm enjoying it. It's pretty crazy how times were just a lot different back in the 80s. Like just the drug use in those things was crazy.
A lot of cocaine.
And like other stuff, they're like doing speed, they're before like their coffee, and you can just hear the players like Lenny Dykstra. That guy, the fact that he outlived somebody like Carter is just like these. Like, how does that happen? So it's actually pretty good. Do you guys have a 30 for 30 you really like?
I like the Jordan playing baseball one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. Yeah.
I just like anything Jordan for the most part. So
I like the 85 Bears. That one's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there. I always like that Big East one for some reason. That one's always one I kind of enjoy about the basketball there too. Tyler, I also have to mention I got a beer with Hannah's dad over at Cloverdale over here at Wolf. He treated me to a beer, and I emailed him one of our podcasts with the tennis part because that's what he was kind of interested in. And he goes, "Yeah, it was pretty good, but you guys don't even know any of the names because we could pronounce the names." And he's all messed up. So I was like, all right, we got to get better at the Russian.
As soon as you said Mark, I was like, I love his constructive.
Yeah, good stuff overall. All right, why don't we take a break there real quick? We'll be back with some MLB, some NBA, and we'll finish it up with some NFL and some picks we got this week. All right, we're back here on the Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports Podcast here Sunday morning, 7:24. Pick it back up here with some sports. Tyler, every week we got to touch on another 7 games left in the MLB regular season. Giants hold a 3-game lead now thanks to the Diamondbacks beating Kershaw. And the Dodgers not helping my fantasy team at all this week. I went all in with Dodgers hitters, and they are just coming up very flat. So it looks like I'm going to have to give it the truth.
Magic number is 6.
Coming down to it. Yeah, so the Giants looking good. I mean, the fact you got to feel if they win today, the Giants alone, if they keep it at a 3-game lead at the very least, right? They don't go down to 2. I would think that you would feel fairly confident about the league going into the week 2. I mean, you're still maybe
I'm pretty good. Good. Sorry. I'm feeling pretty confident now. If we go 4-3, they got to go 7-0. And I don't know. I'd be a real blow job if they don't hold on to this. It'd be like the Mets, like a couple years ago or 10 years ago, probably. Now, time flies. But it's just like I've been saying, the magical season, and I can't believe where we're at. It's shocking.
Your blowjob comment there. You can't. You can only say that here, folks. On the
I was thinking of another word to use after blows. I got to go there.
That's the type of analysis you get here. I like it. You're really breaking it down. Imagine we're using our imagination early on in this one. All right. So depending on how I think stays at 3. I said both teams probably win today. Just kind of feeling it out. It's going to be just a crazy first round regardless. It's going to either be, Cardinals, Giants was going to get good ratings, and obviously Dodgers, Giants will get even better ratings. But I don't know. I'm just looking forward to that first round. The Giants get a tough one right off the gate. You cannot be – I mean, you'd probably be rather playing the Brewers or Braves is my guess.
Then who? The Cardinals,
the Cardinals or the Dodgers?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to play the Brewers because I don't want to face Woodruff, Burns, and Peralta. The Cardinals are just so hot, so they're scary. And the Mets – not the Mets. The Mets suck. The Dodgers just are loaded. So, yeah, I'd say anyone – I'd like to play the Braves, and anyone else I feel like will be a little underdog.
Speaking of
maybe not the Cardinals. The Cardinals are just hot. I don't think their roster's that great.
Okay, I got something on the Cardinals first here. So speaking of the Cardinals, Casey, ever since I took over the Little League Cardinal team there, I kind of always had a little interest in just a little bit more in the major league level, even though it has nothing to do with anything. But I just remember liking them a little bit more. They've won 15 in a row now. They're 86-69. That means they were 71-69 before they started this 15-game win streak. They were like just right over 500, like you said, Tyler. Not playing great baseball at all. They now have a 7-game lead when they were 3 games behind when it started. I mean, that's a 10-game swing in like 50, basically 15 games. That's insane. That tells you, A, how bad the Padres and Reds were playing. And the thing that just impresses me about the Cardinals in general, is their franchise is one of these franchises that they understand if you stick to the process and you, for the most part, draft well, have a system in drafting well and developing your guys and letting them develop together in the pros, there is a part of chemistry and learning to play together. And obviously you have to be good, no doubt about it. And then along the way, when you get to the major league level, of course you have to make good acquisitions and make good trades, but they always do a good job of like their franchise honoring their players and just keeping like, kind of like the Giants do, like keeping that like kind of some sort of magic about their franchise in some ways. And I think that's what leads to these like late season runs a lot of the time. I know that sounds kind of corny, but I mean, they have a history of this, goes all the way back to like the 80s where it really kind of started, where they just kind of have like this long history of like kind of sneaking up on people when we really shouldn't anymore.
I'd say it goes back even further than that. But yeah, they always have players coming up in their own system that like Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader, and then back a little further, Yadier, Carpenter, Wainwright, and that generation. And it just every generation has these players, and then they always have enough money to add an Arenado or Goldschmidt when they need it.
And then they get a guy like Lester and guys like that who are just done, and then they come into their magic. I don't know. They're starting to annoy me a little bit. Let's just put it that way. Is there anybody else getting annoyed by the Cardinals? Casey, are you getting annoyed by them at all?
No, not at all. I actually like it. I don't mind. I mean, it's just pretty remarkable, like you said, how that's such a good tradition and rich tradition in that matter of where they just continuously put out winning products. And they might have a year or two, but I mean, like, they take care of their players. Like look at Adam.
That's the main thing.
Look at Adam Wainwright. I mean, he just got his 2,000 strikeout. Like only him and Bob Gibson have done that for the Cardinals.
And Yadier has been there the whole time. Isn't it crazy? I think Wainwright was the closer for that first championship too. They've had him for a long time.
And the year he's having is like he doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. Like he's he's ridiculous.
No, he's been unreal.
So, I mean, yeah, no, to me, it's just, it's fun to watch because they just have that pedigree as a team where they're just always in the hunt every year. And like you said, it might be annoying for someone like,
for me,
that's not an average baseball fan, but like when you actually watch the games, you're like, for instance, the other night they were playing the Brewers and the guy he hits at this like right center and the guy makes an amazing catch and then they get 2 runs on a sacrifice fly because the guy scores from second. It's like that's just heads up baseball as smart players.
Yeah, they just have a way of figuring it out. So they're gonna probably beat the Dodgers and you guys will probably end up playing the Cardinals. It's just my hunch based on it. Here's a couple other baseball notes I got here. AL wild card really close. Yankees and Red Sox, they're tied right now for the for the one spot, the home field advantage spot in the wild card game right now. They're 2 ahead of Toronto, 2 ahead of Seattle, 4 ahead of Oakland. If we still want to say the A's are in it, but I think we all know they're not.
How the hell is Seattle within 2 games?
They just swept the A's. That's why.
4 games.
Well, I mean, all season. Like, how have they hung around?
That's been impressive. That you got to give them credit. Like, the Angels, like, how do you know what I mean? They just the way that the Angels can't even get into that mix. It's crazy. Who do you like to kind of get in there? Yankees, Red Sox. I mean, that'd be a good wild card game, right?
That'd be fun.
Or do we want to see the Blue Jays in there with Simeon, who hit his 43rd home run yesterday? Just to rub it in the A's face.
Real quick, is that a small stadium in Toronto? Because I feel like Carlos Delgado was always hitting 40 home and Vernon Wells was. I wanted to get into this like earlier, but like in a previous podcast. But I was just like, how the hell does Simeon have 43 home runs? I never thought he'd hit more than like 25.
I think the ball travels better in Canada.
It's more friendly, that's for sure.
Plus
they have friendly balls. That's it.
Their lineup is stacked, man. They got so many good players.
They do.
Pitch to, you know what I mean? So obviously you're going to see better pitches.
Calvin Biggio's fantasy baseball steal of the year next year. That's the guy I'm going with. He'll be the next. He'll have a bounce back year. So, Case,
Let me write that in my notes.
You should write it down right now. Speaking of the Blue Jays, Vladimir, he's still like 8 RBIs, a little bit more from the RBI lead. But if he gets the RBI lead at this point, it looks like he's going to be the Triple Crown winner. Wouldn't that be crazy? Like he wins the Triple Crown and he doesn't win the MVP. Does he beat Ohtani at that point?
I think he should. I mean, I get why everyone's like all hopped up on Mountain Dew right now. Like, I'm so excited. Like, we've never seen this before. Like,
is that to Brian for his Mountain Dew drinking?
He was Diet Mountain Dew. But I mean, I get it because it's like, it's unheard of. You never seen a player do this before. But if you have a Triple Crown and he's playing for a playoff position, and if they get in, I mean, really, what's
his hitting stats though aren't that far behind, Case.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, but if your team's that far out of the race and you make the playoffs, like, I think that should definitely count for something.
Tyler,
I think the pitching over takes the counting for something. He's been dominant pitching and hitting. It's just insane to me. I never thought I'd see a player like this. So it's more like we saw a Triple Crown less than 10 years ago. So yeah, it's so impressive. Don't get me wrong. He should be right there. And if he won, I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a travesty for sure. Like, but I think Ohtani should win it just because he's like a once in a lifetime player.
But even if their team's like 500,
I mean, yeah, I guess valuable is a tough. That's where it's
Trout's won it all these years.
Yeah, and A-Rod's won it, and I don't know. It just seems it's subjective. Is he that valuable if you're only winning, if you're losing 90 games? I don't know. Like, no, not really, I guess. But you still, how many would they have lost without him?
Yeah.
It's a really weird, thing to argue.
Yeah.
I just feel like kind of a funny, little argument because it's such 2 great seasons in that way. But like I said, Vlad still has to, he's actually 10 RBIs behind Salvador. So it'll probably be pretty hard. And he has to hold off Salvador for the home run lead, who's also put up a crazy year. Let me give you some other notes before we get out of here. Salvador is going for the record for the Royals. If he has 46 right now, he already has the catcher all-time record. He beat Johnny Bench earlier in the year. It's crazy to think. He's just a big human being as well. But it's incredible to think that he might have 50 home runs. That's pretty insane. Also wanted to mention Rays win their 2nd straight division title. Just think that's funny because just the way the teams spend in that other division, how they're able to work them at this point. I also got La Russa wins his 13th division title. I remember saying early on that I thought that was a good hire. I wanted to mention that I was correct. So I did want to at least throw that in there.
I mean, look how loaded that roster is, though. A lot of teams really could have won. I'm not buying La Russa.
All I know is they have the division 8. And then the last thing here is kind of what Mateo sent me last night. I kind of wanted to bring it up real quick. I read this article is the Rays kind of have this thing as maybe a backup plan to possibly share a stadium with a team with a stadium in Montreal. And he's like, what would you think? He wrote me, what do you think of the A's if they did that? Like they shared this, let's just say with Vegas, right? They played half their games in Vegas, half their games in Oakland. He's like, would you still be a fan? I was like, in my head, I was like, I still would be a fan probably because I could at least take my kids to a game. I could still go to a game, I guess. But it'd definitely be a little different for sure. But I would say yes, I would still be a fan. Casey, I was curious to think, what would you think of that?
No, can't do it.
Hold on, Casey. You're a fan of the Raiders still, and they're not there any games.
Yeah, but they only play once a week.
Well, they're still not
and
playing.
That's not even once.
They play more games.
They play 8 games at home. They play. I mean, that's.
But you probably only. I'm kind of with Tyler on this argument, Jordan. You are still a Raiders fan. If you were not a Raiders fan, I think I'd have your back a little bit more on this one. I think you're gonna have to defend it more.
I mean, like I said, it's only 8 games. So I mean, what the hell am I missing out on? Really? I mean, yeah, it was fun, but I mean, when you go to an A's game, it's just so much different. Like there's.
I mean, you'd still be able to go to A's games.
I guess I'd be more pissed off because it's the last team left in Oakland. So it's like, all right, so that's done. Like Oakland is finished. Like
no, you missed what I said. They would play half their games in Oakland and half their games in Vegas. So they would still play. They would still be associated with Oakland, and they would also be associated with Vegas. That's what Tampa Bay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I thought you just meant like They're up and
No,
gone.
no, they would be half. That was what the article was that with Tampa, they would split with Tampa and Montreal, like if they couldn't get a stadium done. So if they split between Oakland and let's say Vegas, would I still be a fan of that? And I would say yes, because they would still be playing some
for
games.
Sure. Yeah, I'd still be a fan. Yeah, no, I probably just misunderstood the question, but yeah, I'd still be a fan. Absolutely. If they're doing half and half. I mean, what's the difference? Not like there's going to be a bigger crowd in Montreal. So.
Yeah, well, that would be for Tampa. Yeah, exactly. So at the A's, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird concept. I don't see Oakland. Me and my dad got a little thing about it yesterday. I was like, he was kind of defending some of he was kind of defending California and being able to get stadiums built. He's like, well, it should be private money that makes it. I was like, yeah, but they also have to be able to work with the city or town that they're dealing with. And I was like, obviously, the town of Oakland has no success of dealing with it since 1960s when they were able to get teams here. So it's like at some point, 50 years of history, that kind of makes it, you got to take some responsibility for what's happened as well. So that situation is what it is. So baseball last week heating up. Tyler, next week we'll be able to I'm going to recap our winners, recap our picks.
I don't have any winners of those.
Recap our picks from earlier in the baseball season, and also kind of preview the baseball playoffs ahead. We'll do that next week. We'll take a quick little break here. We'll be back with some NBA, some Warriors talk here real quick, and then we'll get into the NFL and we'll look at week 3. All right, we're back here on the Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports Podcast. All right, before we get into the NFL, I know everybody wants, that's the best part here, Case, but the NBA, there's been a lot of kind of interesting things with the Warriors, I feel like, this week. Obviously, with the Simmons news of him not wanting to report to the Sixers, that's kind of caused a little trade rumor stir, and Lakeup gets fined for his comments on it. So the Warriors are in the news there, and then comes out the other day about Wiggins not being vaccinated and not sure if he will be, which really affects him with his status with the Warriors, because in the state of California, the city of San Francisco, in a stadium of more than 5,000 people, you have to have proof of vaccination or, test 48 hours before and blah, blah, blah. And in short, he would not be able to play pretty much any other home games or practice with the team. So that puts things at a little bit of an issue, especially with training camp right around the corner here, less than 2 weeks away, I think, maybe less. So I kind of want to get into, I was thinking overall here, and you guys can comment on it, I kind of have some reasons here. I'm a little bit, I guess, nervous about the Warriors season already. I'll be honest, I was very optimistic of it a few weeks ago. When Mateo came on with us, we were talking it up. I was like, hey, I'm feeling good about the offseason. Rookies look good. Summer league comes along. But here's some of my reasons why I'm starting to get a little worried. A, we just talked about it. Wiggins vaccine. I mean, what the heck's going to happen there? All right. So that's kind of like, he's your starting small forward, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? And then you can't trade him. Like, who the heck's going to, and if you do, you're not going to get anything for him. So Wiggins is my first reason I'm you're obviously a little bit weary already to start this season. Number 2, the Wiseman-Clay injury news. Clay, I feel like the national media kind of hypes up the Warriors, and some of the local media and some of the fans are like, yeah, Clay's back. But it's like, okay, let's be realistic though. But they've already said he's missing 50 games. So he, at the very best, he'll be back for the last 32. It doesn't mean that. And then when he does come back, he's still going to miss a game here or he's going to be on a minutes restriction. And so they're going to be in that transition of, can they win with also being able to transition him back in at the success you need to win a championship. Wiseman is already going to miss the starting training camp, possibly could also miss regular season games, weeks of regular season games. Again, missing another start of training camp for a rookie is not a good thing. It already has me a little bit worried for the start of the season there. He already has injury history. So I'm already a little worried with Wiseman and Clay. And then my last point is the rookie and veterans. I also feel like I feel like they kind of get a little overhyped in the offseason. Like, they played well, the rookies in the summer league, but are they really going to contribute to a contender? Like, I guess we'll see, but usually 7th pick, 14th picks don't have that type of history of doing that. The veterans, I would say, are not in any way mind-blowing and are also risky picks. So I just don't see that happening. And then Tyler, we also have the the Draymond interview at Durant, which is going to lead to some interesting conversations that probably didn't need to take place, and probably some training camp questions. So I'm not saying this is going to make them not make the playoffs. I'm just saying it's not necessarily, for me, a great start to a championship run is the way I would look at it. Tyler, your thoughts on maybe that little soliloquy I had there, then we'll let Casey chime in.
I mean, the biggest worry for me is Wiggins not being able to play in practice. Wiseman, I'm not too worried about. We played without him last year and played well. It'd be great if he was there and give us to win a championship. We'll need him. The rookies, I don't really expect to contribute all that much, but I think the guys we have coming back with Steph, Dre, and Poole will be able to score and defend well enough to make the playoffs. I don't know what's going to happen. This season could be a total disaster, like you just pointed out. But I also think they're still in the mix of everything. They'll need a lot of breaks, things to go the way they're planning them to go as far as injuries. And that's just not a guarantee.
Case, before I let you go, I don't want you to use the word disaster. I kind of made it seem like a disaster. I still think that they definitely finish as a top five, finish as a 5 seed. But what I'm more trying to say is I feel like the national media is giving this as they're a championship contender. And I'm saying right now, some of these elements aren't necessarily championship contender. Doesn't mean it couldn't change. I realize that, but I'm also want to talk about what's going on right now. And this is the now, as Wiseman isn't going to be available right now. Could that affect long-term? Is that going to lead to more history of him being hurt again? This is not ideal is what I'm saying, so I guess those are my issues there. So yes, I think they still could be good, but it just that championship contender part is what worries me a little bit. Casey, your thoughts?
That's a lot to digest right there. It's a lot of information, but
use that brain of yours to digest.
I think as long as you have Steph Curry, you have a chance. I mean, we saw last year, he's just world class, by far top 5 best player in the NBA, easily. And I think you add pieces like Jonathan Kuminga, Emmanuel Moody. I think those guys will contribute. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to blow your mind, but I think, you give them enough minutes, you give them some playing time. I could see them being impactful. And Jordan Poole obviously showed from last year, he's taking big steps. And Wiseman will hurt, because that's pretty much the only size they have. So it's tough when you don't have a big man. But they prove, they're a feisty bunch. They got a lot of players that are dogs. Juan Toscano Anderson, just that type of energy with those type of players, I really think they got a good chance. And
to win the championship
this year?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm bringing this up, because the national media
I think definitely
as a national champion, I
definitely think they're in that hunt for sure. I really do. I mean, last year with an 8 seed, and they had to go through the play-in, and when they played the Lakers, they went toe to toe with them. They weren't no slouch. They weren't no gimme. So I think, you ran into a really good young Memphis team that was hungry. But this year, getting Clay back, see how he progresses. But I think they got a really, really good chance of actually going pretty deep into the playoffs.
So just to recap, my number 4 reason was the Draymond Durant interview. Obviously, it won't have a big impact. It causes unnecessary conversations and awkwardness. That didn't need to happen.
To me, that doesn't matter, though. That's
what I just said. I just said it. I didn't say it's going to matter on the court. So I put it at number 4, but it causes unnecessary. It didn't need to happen. Is my point. Number 3, I had the rookie veteran. I feel like overhyped kind of thing there. 2, Wiseman, Clay. Then of course, the number 1 issue would be if you don't have your starting small forward and you're expecting 18 to 19 points that you don't often even know that he got from your team. So they need him there, though, at least for his defense once in a while as well. So we'll see what happens. That is going to be interesting how this plays out. I know that. It's definitely an interesting storyline.
The main thing for me, Wiggins is more important because he plays 82 games. I mean, he's
true.
3 years he's played 82 games. So, and that's what the Warriors need right now is bodies. And he's a good player. He's progressed over the last couple of years he's been there. One thing he does, he shows up. Now, if he's not vaccinated, that's going to be a big problem because now your rotation slips. And that's why I was telling you, straight up, not straight up, but fix some pieces and the hell with it. Trade him for Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons don't want to be in Philadelphia, and clearly Andrew Wiggins doesn't want to get.
But that's my point. Like, what's the end game for this whole entire thing with the people that don't want to get vaccinated? Doing the whole league, what's the end game? Like the Sixers.
Well, the only states that matters is New York and Oakland or California.
Exactly.
Like those teams are the only ones that have to be fully vaccinated. You have to be fully vaccinated to be able to play your home game.
But you feel like
away teams can still play if they're unvaccinated in those states. It's just a stupid rule, in my opinion. I don't get it.
It's just interesting to see how it plays out. Like, what's the end game here? Like, will he end up getting? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. So, anyways, Warriors season not too far along. I just wanted to kind of get us started with maybe a little talk there early in the year. This is obviously Warriors country. We're big fans, so I want to get that going there. Let's take one final break. We'll be back with the NFL. We got some things to talk about. We got Niners, Packers to kind of get into. Raiders playing the Dolphins. I don't even know who the heck the Dolphins quarterback is at this time. Tony Brisket, right? No, I'm just kidding. All right, we'll be back here.
All
right, we're back here. Final segment on the Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports Podcast. NFL segment. Remember to join us Monday nights for our after-hour show. Usually come on around 9 o'clock. We usually have it out around 10:30. Check it out Tuesday morning or stay up and watch it Monday night. We've really enjoyed doing those the last couple of weeks. Casey and Brian will be joining us hopefully there. Tyler, I know I've talked to Brian about his Twitter game. He said tonight during the Niners game, I told him let's try to do a few tweets tonight, see if we can get a little trash talking going. So we'll see if he shows up. Right? That's important to you.
Let's hope so. That's kind of my gun.
So anyways, check that podcast out. That's kind of one of our favorite ones early on doing it. We really enjoyed the first two. So this week we got Eagles. It's Eagles at Cowboys. So rivalry game there. Casey, NFC East. So you're expecting a 17-13 score, correct?
17-13 with about 6 turnovers.
There was also another beauty primetime game, a must-watch, Panthers-Texans on Thursday night. I did not watch much of it, but I did see a picture of Sam Darnold after the game. Does anybody have better helmet hair in the league than Sam Darnold after a game? That thing really puffs up. I'm really impressed with Sam Darnold's hair. Does it really matter if the Panthers are 3-0? Does it matter? Like, does it feel like anything?
I think it does. Their defense has been great. And, I mean, without McCaffrey, it's going to be a little more difficult. But, yeah, I think they've looked really good as far as, like, their defense. And they have weapons with Moore and Anderson. And they drafted Terrence Marshall out of LSU. I think they're the second-best team in the South.
That was a real bummer about McCaffrey.
Man, I think they're going to struggle now. I mean, they lost J.C. Horn pretty much for the year now, too. I mean, that's a big blow. McCaffrey probably for at least 3 weeks. And watching that game, which I watched probably up till, like, the fourth quarter, and I was like, I'm done with it now. Sam Darnold, man, I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical about him. He doesn't look all that great. I mean, he's got some skills. I can tell he can play, but he holds on to that ball for a long time, man. I mean, he's, 2 forced fumbles that they recovered, but he doesn't look all that good. I'm not going to lie. He just doesn't look like that dude.
Their schedule's not that tough, to be honest. I'm looking at it right now. They go at Cowboys, Eagles, Vikings, Giants, Falcons. That's not the hardest stretch there in the league. So they could get off to a pretty good start to the point where, you know what I mean? Like they could at least get into the wild card game there. I think we'd still say the Bucs are the clear favorite in that one, but they don't play the Bucs weirdly until like they play them 2 out of the last 3 weeks of the season. Kind of a weird little schedule there. Yeah, they play in like December 26th, then they play the Saints, and then they end the season with the Bucs. So you don't see that very often in the NFL. So anyways, that game was wasn't too great a one, but I know also talking to Mark, he likes USC, so he was happy Sam. He's happy Darnold's doing well there. Tyler, anything you're looking forward to this week? Any game in particular? I know the Niners, Packers. We can get to it now. Is that kind of what you're looking forward to the most tonight, or is there another game you're kind of piquing your interest early on?
Nah, the Chiefs Chargers game at 10 a.m. is the most interesting game to me. It just the two of the best offenses going at it, and 2 not of the best defenses. It's funny how
Super
much of an
Bowl pick.
impact Tyrann Mathieu
Let's not forget about that.
No, I'm not scared. How much of an impact Mathieu makes, but this is playmaking. Like they still gave up a ton of points, but he got 6 back on his own and got another pick.
Yeah, that game's definitely to me the early game I'm the most interested in. I always like to ask this question to you guys, like, is there a team or player that you're kind of like, obviously we just said the Chiefs and Chargers, or maybe the Chargers are the most interesting team for you. Kind of a team that for me, I'm kind of like, I want to see something from, and a player I want to see something from is like, for me, the Bengals kind of. I want to see something from Joe Burrow at Steelers. The Steelers are definitely gettable, like right now. And like, if you're a rookie quarterback, like, I don't know, he's
your Super Bowl pick. Let's not forget.
I know, but I'm also realistic to like where I'm seeing the Steelers are at this point. Where I'm seeing them right now, they're vulnerable after what I saw last week against the Raiders. And if you're this is more of a Joe Burrow thing more than a Bengals thing for me. He has a chance to kind of really get a big win that's doable, I feel like. And so like if they lose this game, I might be in my head, I'm thinking they're going to be kind of another down year for them. That's kind of, I guess, how my mind is thinking. I guess that's why I feel like it's a big game for the Bengals randomly. I don't know. When I look at the schedule, that's the team that pops out to me. I don't know why, but that's the thing. I guess Burrow gets a lot of hype to me, and I think he's good. And I just think the Steelers are gettable right now. Kate, I don't know if Case, you got the schedule in front of you, but is there a game that you're interested in?
I mean, the one I'm looking forward to is the Raiders game. I want to see how they perform. I think this should be an ass-kicking day. You should just whoop the Dolphins' ass right now. You got their backup quarterback in. You're at home. You're coming off a big win. Now it's time to just, lay your stamp. Like, this is who we are. We're here. We're real. It's time. Let's get it. Because it's like, if you don't show up today and you show up flat, it's the same old Raiders, same damn Raiders. But today, this is big because I think if you actually show up and you just put an ass whooping on like they should get, I think they're legit.
Do the Raiders kick anybody's butt?
I'm hoping for a loss just for the show on Monday.
Hey, I mean, that was a real jackass statement there, but no, for real though. I mean, like, you want to see something from Derek Carr, right? This is his chance. I think this is the game where you just go 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 300 plus yards, win 35-17, and just wipe them out. And everyone's sitting halfway through the fourth quarter.
Well, I also had the Raiders on a team for the same reason you have, and I also have the Broncos on there. They're 2-0. They're kind of a weak 2-0. They play the Jets as well. It's like, you can't, if you know what I mean, like the Broncos, you lose that team, you're automatically thrown out the window as a real contender in my mind. You lose that game to the Jets, right? At home. So that's why I kind of have those teams also on notice a little bit this week, just to kind of feel out their temperature a little bit more this week. Another game that's kind of interests me is the Colts Titans one, just because the Colts, they're 0-2. Big game for them. They can't go 0-3, obviously, or they're completely kind of starting to get out of the picture. But I have to remember there is 17 games now, so there is an extra week to make up for those 0-3 starts that other teams used to have. So, and for the Titans, I kind of want to see how they respond to it. So we'll see what happens there with those games. Those are a few.
What's up with everyone being so fascinated with the Colts? I'm just over the Colts. Like, I don't see it. Like, they're not
fascinated with the Colts, other than me.
I don't know. Not just you, just like the public. Like, oh, they got Carson Wentz. Like, they're going to be a playoff team. Like,
they have a great logo.
I guess a horseshoe. I don't know. Like, to me, it's just, I'm over it. Like, every time like I watch NFL Live, they're like, yeah, like the Colts and this and the Colts. And I'm like,
they have a big fan base.
Carson Wentz hasn't done shit. Like, he hasn't even made it to the playoffs healthy. Like, it was like Derek Carr, the same thing. Like,
when we say Monday night, he has 2 sprained.
He has 2 sprained.
His ankle sprained, not just one. Yes,
and he's gonna play.
He should have played.
That's crazy to me. I always like to have a worst game of the day too. Competition, like, what's the worst one you would not want? Like, you're always Jets one that you're just like, oh my god, it's got to be Jets Broncos. That's got to be up there for sure. I also got to throw out there, like, for me, I'm not interested in Baltimore at Detroit. I know Lamar's out there, but Detroit, you throw me out. I'm out. Don't give me good Detroit again. I already saw them at the Niners. I'm done there with that one. And then Falcons.
Hold on, I want to get
Giants.
the one thing about the Niners.
Yeah,
they're playing the first home game, and it's a night game, and it's their first home game since November 5th.
That's right, because they play on.
That stadium gets rocking because I've never really seen it rock like the stick used to rock, and almost a year of no football there. It should be a little rowdy on a Sunday night.
You guys are going to kill the Packers tonight.
Kill?
Don't you think?
I mean, I hope so. It's Aaron Rodgers. I'm not putting anything past him.
You know that you're expecting to win by more.
We should beat them. We normally can run the ball on them. They're on their third string left tackle, so we should be able to get a pass rush. But Aaron Rodgers makes up for a lot of things sometimes, and we'll see how he comes out. We kind of own him though as well. So.
All right. Well, that's true. All right. You guys are 3-point favorites. Think you win by more than 3 then?
I mean, I wouldn't bet on it, but I think so.
The other game that's interesting we should talk about too.
Sounded real confident, man.
You're not really making me feel good about this Niners game right now.
No,
that makes you think that the Packers are going to win.
The Packers are good.
They stink. They just got crushed by the Saints, and then they beat the Lions.
They handled the Lions better than we handled the Lions.
You guys were on the road, Brian would say.
Brian will make an excuse for anything.
Nick Bosa was coming off his first game back. I mean, you got to make a stronger point, my friend. That's about why you.
I'm not gonna just blow smoke up your ass.
I can feel that Facebook shadow room and Brian's just going off right now.
The other kind of game I like is the Packers-Rams game. That's obviously what we.
Rams who?
Or Packers-Rams, Bucks-Rams. At Rams.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Tom's first game in LA. That's what they said.
That's crazy.
And right now they're only the Rams are. Let's see, Rams are a 1-point dog. I'd be tempting to take the Rams on that one. That one there. Any upsets we see? Anything you got? Anything that crazy going on? Saints can beat the Patriots today. Does that happen in New England? Can the Bengals beat the Steelers, Lions, Ravens? I mean, is this possible? Jaguars, Cardinals? That one I could see maybe.
I mean,
the Dolphins have a good defense. Let's not overlook the Dolphins' defense. They have a great defense.
Dolphins. There's no need to bring up the Dolphins.
And Brissett's doable. He's capable.
There's always one upset like every week, right? I mean, to me, I think it would be the Bengals over the Steelers. To me, I think that's legit.
I also got to point out ahead of time that next Thursday's already our meeting. Jacksonville at Cincinnati. What a game! The NFL they never let you down with these Thursday night beauties. They're unbelievable. We're already going to give you a worse product because it's Thursday night, and they will have 3 days of rest, and we're going to give you shitty games. That's what we're going to do right now. Gentlemen, that's all I got from the NFL this week. I look forward to Monday night where we can kind of recap some of these games. I'm really, like I said, the Raiders got to show up today. The Niners got to. To me, the Niners are a favorite, big time favorite over the Packers tonight. I'm surprised it's only 3. Casey, I'm kind of with you on the Raiders there that they need to have a big blowout win like that, but how, where, when? I don't see it. We'll see what happens with that. I can't even fathom that happening. So
it's Jacoby Brissett. Like
he's capable. I can see Big Colby out there. Like the Raiders have lost the worst.
Would you rather have Tua playing? Because I kind of would.
Me too.
To be real. Yeah, that's the only part where I'm like, damn, we might have got unlucky. I wish I had Tua out there.
That he was one where I definitely thought he was going to be better than that. I definitely was writing my emotions of the national championship game and believing in him. He looks like he's definitely not the part at the quarterback position. So
what do you think, Tyler? Do you think Tua is a bust already, or is he like someone that like you think give him like a couple of years and he still get?
Yeah, I don't. He's too small and he's always hurt, and his arm doesn't seem like it's like good enough to make a difference. I don't know if he's a bust yet. I'm not like completely giving up on him, but I don't think he's like on Herbert or who's the other quarterback drafted tonight.
Could you imagine if the Dolphins would have drafted Herbert instead of Tua?
Well, they got to be kicking them.
We could do that with a lot of people.
No, I just mean because he played in the Pac-12. So I mean, you don't really get to see him against a lot of good competition. But Alabama's always leading, so it's kind of hard to tell. And
True.
the quarterbacks usually from Alabama don't translate to the NFL. I don't even think there's probably more. Mac Jones might be the only starter in the NFL.
Well, Hurts.
Huh?
Hurts too.
Jalen, yeah. But he went to Oklahoma, though, his last year.
He went to every school. No, yeah, no, he did. He went to Oklahoma his last year, but he did go to Alabama.
Because, I mean, you think about
it. He did lead them to a championship game.
Because Baker went there. Lincoln Riley was doing obviously something, right? Jalen Hurts, so maybe it's just the air raid offense. But to me, Alabama, they have great position players, but for whatever reason, the quarterback just doesn't work. I mean, it's kind of like – it was kind of like the University of Miami, like Ken Dorsey, different guys that always come out. They're like, oh, they're great. But they get to the NFL, they're shit.
Just look at all the first-round skill positions that Tua played with that got drafted. It's unbelievable.
Tyler, I was going to say something, but I forgot. Oh, yes, Fields. Your tweet this week. It was a good tweet. You want to say what your question was before we get out of here, get people thinking about it?
Yeah, will Justin Fields be as successful as Cam Newton in the NFL?
So I like the guy's response where he's basically hey, so are you saying he'll win an MVP basically, and will he get his team to the Super Bowl? So it doesn't necessarily mean those things, but that's kind of that's the player that Cam was. I think I said no, but I don't know. Well,
I said no as well.
I think it's a good question.
I just think their games are so similar at where they started their careers. They're so big and so fast and have such cannons for arms. It's just all about accuracy. And we'll see if Fields has the accuracy to be better than Cam, because that was Cam's deficiency. But he was still an MVP. I mean, he was a great player. So
we forgot that.
It's crazy to think how young Cam Newton still is, and he's not in the league. It's kind of weird. He was just an unreal player for 6 years, 7 years. And then all of a sudden just bam, as soon as that Super Bowl year, it is he was forgotten. 2015, I believe, was when he won that MVP, and it's 2022 and he's out of the league. It's kind of weird.
That's football, man. That happens.
Just QB powers take a number on you.
Yeah, you can't do those QB.
I mean, that Denver game when he was just getting lit up, just shots to the face. It felt like Brett Favre game, against the Saints. He was just getting obliterated. And maybe he just is such a big guy, he could take those hits, but maybe he just took so many hits. You only got so many in your career, right? So maybe
definitely. Well, to be honest, he wasn't very exciting to watch at all the last year. So it's not surprising he's not starting anywhere.
Wow, a quick little shot.
He can't be worse than Ben Roethlisberger.
So who'd you rather have Ben? All I'm saying is you're probably not cutting Ben that's been there the whole time and bringing Cam. It's probably
I'm not cutting him, but I'd bring in Cam. They have no backup. You want Mason Rudolph?
I'm not. That would be fine. You get my point. You're not cut. You're not
No, I'm not cutting.
A realistic spot he's starting and succeeding. Maybe Washington. I don't know. Maybe something.
But do you think also it has to do that he's not vaccinated, so no one wants a backup quarterback that's not reliable?
Probably doesn't help.
Does that mean you're not reliable because you're not vaccinated?
Well, I think it makes it not reliable in NFL forms, because if you have to miss time in practices and stuff, I don't think, I don't think it makes you not reliable as a human being necessarily.
Yeah.
I think it makes you not reliable.
You can't really rely on him to be there.
Kind of like the thing you were making the point.
There's different protocols, and just makes things more difficult. I get what you're saying.
Before we get out of here, I hopefully, Tyler, I was hoping you have another good Twitter battle this week with somebody. I did a lot. It was about the Warriors, so we won't go back to that. But you got to do it. They will have another exciting Niners one. If people aren't familiar with the story, look at Tyler's timeline on his Twitter there. He had a good little conversation about Ben Simmons with a pro athlete from Clark, Australia there. And I like how the guy, I don't like it, but I like how he, what he said. It always irritates me when people are like, well, obviously you didn't play professional sports. It's well, I get it. You played pro sports, you'll know probably a little bit more and, maybe some insights and stuff, but there's also some cases where you might not as well, because you might be more stubborn in certain areas. So I always get a little frustrated with people that make comments like that. So good job defending yourself in that. And again, if you want to take a look at Tyler's Twitter timeline, it was kind of an interesting conversation.
Let me say this: if I had played with Australian competition, I probably could have played a little college ball in Australia.
And if you were 6'6", you could be able to be.
No. I'm not going that crazy.
6'6".
Tyler was a beast though in basketball for a while, man. He just had a good, I ain't gonna lie. He had some good.
Yeah. We know what we're talking about. Maybe we don't have the experience on some of the higher levels, but I feel like we all kind of know what we're talking about. And yeah, that's why we do this. All right, Monday night after our podcast, about 9:00, we'll come in after Eagles Cowboys. Be sure to check out some other good podcasts out there. House of Hoops, they got episode 80 coming up for them. Congratulations to them. I wanted to shout out Let's Be Real podcast. They just had episode 150 for those guys. He had a good, P Shark wrote a good article about his podcast and their journey there. So if you get a chance to check out their Twitter account or their website, and they do a good job with it. And they like their show says, they keep it real with things. So they're entertaining to watch. So check out theirs, and obviously be sure to check out ours Monday night with the After Hours, guys. I'll see you then.
Hold on,
Let's go Raiders.
John, I give you constructive criticism to post to Twitter a little more. You give me one of these, I'm gonna pop you like a pimple on my ass.
and we will end with that graphic image. Everybody, have a good Sunday. Later.